The Third Testament, Section 14, The Mission Statement. Chapter 60, Working in the Spirit of Christ. Necessary qualities, virtues and abilities of the new disciples. 1. How difficult it seems to you to find a way to fulfill your task in this time. But I tell you that it is not difficult because mankind is prepared to receive my message. 2. At all times the weak are despondent in the face of battle, while the strong have shown that faith in my law overcomes all. Your destiny, Israel, has been to always bring new messages and revelations to the world, which is why you sometimes doubt whether you will find faith. 3. But have no fear, take the seed which I have entrusted to you and sow it. You will already see how many of the fields you will find fertile, which you thought to be barren, when they are made fruitful with the truth of my word. 4. Do not fail to do your work because you feel unworthy. Verily, I tell you, whoever has a mission and fails to carry it out acts as wickedly as he who knowingly defiles the law. 5. Do not forget that the Father will demand an account from you in the end, both for what you have done evil and for what you have failed to do. Know that both the one and the other transgression will cause suffering to your spirit. 6. Spread my teaching, speak my word to men, convince them with your works of love, invite them to hear me, and when they come with the crowds and the light of faith is kindled in their hearts, I will call them children of the new people of Israel. 66, 14-17. 7. To those who rise from the mire, the dirt and selfishness to a life of service and active charity for their fellow men, I will show as an example that my teaching has light and grace to renew sinners. This example will spread to all hearts. 8. Who would not wish to be among those who bear witness to me? But truly, I tell you, if your actions do not truly come from the heart, they will not bear fruit with your fellow men, and you will often hear them calling you hypocrites and false preachers, and I do not want it to happen to you in this way. 9. You must know that in this day and age it is very difficult to fool men. Spirit is awakened, and even if they are lost in the materialism of their existence, they are sensitive to every spiritual manifestation. But if you cannot deceive your fellow men, can you deceive your Father? 10. Let the love of the Master take shelter in your being, that you may forgive your enemies as he forgives you. Then your heart will be like a lifeline among men. 65, 44-46. 11. Have no fear of men, for verily I say to you, I will speak through your mouth, testify my word through you, and the echo of it will reach to the ends of the earth, to the great, to the small, to the rulers, to the scientists and the theologians. 7:37. 12. I say to you again, that you must not be afraid of confrontation. So tell your fellow men with the greatest naturalness that the Lord has come to you. 13. Tell them that he who died on the cross was Jesus, the body in which Christ was hiding, the living temple in which the Word of God dwelt, but that Christ, the divine love, lives and comes to his children in the Spirit to teach them the way that will lead them into his spiritual kingdom. 88, 62-63. 14. Fear not the judgments and mockeries of sects and denominations. They are the ones who, although they have the books of prophecy in their hands, have not interpreted them correctly and therefore did not understand to expect me. You, on the other hand, who did not know the prophecies that spoke of my return as Holy Spirit, expected me. Now the third time is here, but mankind has not understood how to interpret the gospel correctly. 33, 26. 15. How will you be able to lead humanity to attain spirituality in an epoch of so much materialization and spiritual confusion? 16. Be aware that your work is difficult, that you must be strong and patient in the struggle to accomplish it. 17. You must make a great effort to correct the wrong interpretation given to my law and also the imperfect way in which you offer your worship to me. 18. But you must bear in mind that you cannot change your ideas and forms of worship in a moment, but that in order to achieve this, you must arm yourselves with patience and goodwill and set an example of love with your works. 226, 60. 19. Only those who are pure in heart may go to the countries and nations to spread my message, for they will be the only ones worthy to bear witness to the truth of this work. 20. When these messengers set out for the countries which await them, every religious fanaticism must already be erased from their hearts. There must no longer be the slightest desire for flattery or admiration, nor must their hand dare to be stained with the money of the world for the work of love which they perform. 21. They shall not sell miracles, neither shall they fix a price for love one to another. They shall be servants, not masters. 22. The time will come when you will understand the greatness of true humility, and then you will know that he who knew how to be a servant was in reality free in his task of doing good and spreading mercy, and that faith, confidence, and peace accompanied him in his life. 278, 11-12. 23. I tell you that you will feel it when your spirit is prepared to teach my teaching to your fellow men. For this will be when you have found yourselves. You will then clearly hear the voice of conscience. As long as this does not apply with you, you will not be able to truly feel me. 169,36. 24. Listen carefully to this word, that you may interpret it and sow it into the hearts of your fellow men. Do not be content to understand it. Speak of it, give an example and teach by your works. Be sensitive that you may know when is the right time to speak and when is the right time for your deeds to bear witness to my teaching. 25. I give you one language to spread my word, and this language is the spiritual love which will be understood by all men. 26. It is a language pleasing to the ear and the heart of men, which will pull down stone by stone the tower of Babylon, which they have built in their hearts. Then my judgment will end, because all will consider themselves brothers and sisters. 238, 27-28. 27. Only when you have changed inwardly will I send you into the world to spread my message. For only when spirituality is genuine in the disciples will they know how to pass on as they have received from me. 336, 38. 28. Remember that my teaching is not limited to your ideas and understanding. My divine wisdom has no limit. No one can claim to have known or understood any of my revelations before I revealed them to him. 29. While scientists try to explain everything with their material knowledge, I reveal to the humble ones the spiritual life, the actual life, in which is the cause, reason and explanation of everything that exists. 30. Out of the knowledge that you impart will arise the conception that men will have of my work. Many will judge my teaching according to your inconspicuousness because of a lack of understanding, just as in the second age Jesus, the Christ, was judged by his humble appearance and simple garment, and because those 12 who followed him were also simply clothed. But I tell you in truth that they were not covered with rags, and that they had only scorned the earthly vanities because they had understood, on the basis of my teaching, what the true values of the Spirit were. 31 I tell you, disciples, when men set out to study my work, and they seek you out and question you, do not be tempted to think yourselves superior because of the knowledge you have received from me. The more humble you show yourselves, the nobler and more trustworthy they will think you are. 32 In this way, the light that dissolves fanaticism and frees the spirit will gradually advance from man to man. And those who called themselves Christians without being so will know and interpret the true teachings of Christ through this light. For it will give them an uplifting conception of the spiritual life of which Jesus spoke in his teachings. 226, 17-21. 33 You could not go to men with a false or only feigned armor, for their spirit is developed, and the bandage which covered their eyes has long since fallen. 34 Bring spirituality to them, offer them peace, and create in your surroundings an atmosphere of well-being and brotherhood. Then you will experience how they will listen to you and accept your words, in which my inspiration and my strength will lie. 35 When you preach and teach peace, be peaceable yourselves. When you speak of love, feel it before you express it in words. If your fellow men likewise offer you their fruits, do not reject them. Examine all that you come to know, and keep to what is permissible and right in their teachings. 36 You will also meet those who, having become fanatical in their practice of religion, have diminished their comprehension by the materialization of their ritual acts. You shall then patiently help them to enlarge their knowledge, show them the horizons which their spirit can reach when they deepen themselves in my teaching. 37 You are to speak to them about my universal spirit, about the immortality of the spirit, its continual development. You shall teach them true prayer, the dialogue of the Spirit, and free them from prejudice and error. This is the work that I command you, a work of love and patience. 277, 6-7. 38 Heal all sufferings, both of the body and of the spirit, because your task is to comfort, strengthen and heal your neighbor. But I ask you, how could you impart health to the needy if you yourselves were sick? What kind of peace could flow out of your spirit when it is disturbed by worries, sufferings, tortures of conscience and low passions? 39 Only that which you have accumulated in your heart will you be able to offer to your fellow men. 2981, 2. 40 I am bringing you clear and simple teaching so that you may learn to live among sinners without becoming infected, to walk among thorns without hurting yourselves, to witness atrocities and shamefulness without becoming angry, to live in a world full of wretchedness without trying to escape from it, but rather longing to remain in its midst, to do all possible good to those in need and to sow the seed of good in all ways. 41 Since the earthly paradise has been transformed into a hell by the sin of men, it is necessary that they wash away their stains and thus give back to their lives its original purity. 307, 26-27. 42 I will not send as messengers those who are dead for the life of grace, for they would have nothing to give. I will not entrust this mission to those who have not purified their hearts from selfishness. 43 The messenger of my word must be a disciple of mine, whose mere presence already makes my peace palpable in the hearts. He must have the ability to comfort his fellow men even in the most difficult moments of life, and a light must always emanate from his words that dispels all darkness of spirit or mind. 323, 60-61. The right way to behave when passing the word. 44. My new disciples will have many ways and means to spread this blessed seed, but never forget humility and simplicity, for this is how I have come to you, and in the same way you are to approach hearts, homes and peoples. When you thus come, you will be recognized as messengers of a spiritual message, and your struggle will bear fruit of true spiritualization, renewal, and brotherhood. 82, 66. 45. If ye desire to know what ye shall do among men, it is enough to consider what I have done among you from the day that ye first heard my word. 46. I forgave you, received you with infinite mercy and love, let you rest from the toilsome day's work. I did not bother to judge your social position, your class or your caste. I cleansed the leprosy of your sin and healed your infirmities. 47. I was understanding, indulgent, and benevolent in judging your shortcomings. I brought you back to true life by giving you a love teaching that enables you to save yourselves by saving your neighbors. 48. In these my works, which I have done on each of you, you can find the best example to apply it among those who are in need of body and spirit, who will come to you in droves. 49. When I speak to this people here, I speak to mankind. Your task tomorrow is to turn to the hearts of men and fraternally transmit to them my word that will complete the work of redemption. 258, 21-24. 50. You must be humble. You must not mind being insulted. Be gentle. You will be humiliated and suffered. But your word, which will be my message, they will not be able to banish from their spirit. Therefore I say to you, if some remain insensitive and deaf to your call, others will wake up from their long sleep and set out to go forward and put their lives on the way of renewal and conversion. 51. Arm yourselves with courage, faith, and strength, that you may face the battle. But I call your attention to this. Do not be intimidated when you speak to one of your fellow men because you see him well dressed, or because he is addressed as prince, lord or minister. 52. Take an example from Paul and Peter, who raised their voice before those whom the world called lords. They were great in spirit, and yet they boasted to no one that they were masters, rather, they declared that they were servants. Follow their example and bear witness to my truth through the love of your works. 131, 60-62. 53. I also point out to you that he who uses my word as a sword to hurt his fellow men, or as a scepter to humiliate them, cannot call himself my disciple, neither can he who becomes agitated when he speaks of this teaching, and loses his composure, for he will not sow a seed of faith. 54. A prepared disciple will be that one who, when he is attacked in his faith, in the holiest of his convictions, knows how to remain calm, for he will be like a lighthouse in the midst of a storm. 92, 9-10. 55. If you seek to exhort a sinner to do good, do not do it by threatening him with my judgment, with the forces of nature, or with pain if he does not renew himself, for you would make him dislike my teaching. Show the true God, who is all love, mercy and forgiveness. 243, 36. 56. Feel not offended by the mockery of your fellow men, being aware that he who does this is not able to recognize the truth because of his ignorance. You will find the compensation for this in those who come to you to explore you, and then you will be surprised by the inner peace that radiates through each of my true disciples. 57 But you shall never mock those who are idolaters in their religious fanaticism. For even though they seek me in material forms, they worship me in them. 58 You need not point out their errors to your fellow men to achieve that they are eliminated. Rather you would thereby arouse their anger and increase their fanaticism. It will be enough to put my teaching into practice with the spirituality it demands to bring the errors of your fellow men to the light of truth. 59 You will have to summon up much patience, great mercy, and true love if you want mankind to soon learn to recognize the spiritual content of my word and to show true reverence for it, and to recognize in every human creature a spiritual and earthly brother in God. 312, 20-22. 60 I have proved to you that the dark bandage can be taken from the eyes of the ignorant or blinded without harming them, without offending or hurting them. I want you to act in the same way. I have proven to you on yourselves that love, forgiveness, patience and forbearance have more power than hardship, condemnation or the use of force. 172, 63. 61 Once more I leave you the trace so that you follow me. When you set out in search of men to bring the good news, do not beg that they listen to you. Bear your task with dignity, and those who believe you will be those whom I have chosen to make them my disciples. 10:50. The right way of pronouncing the word. 62 I have not given you my word to make it known in the streets and places. Jesus did so, but he knew how to answer every question and put to the test those who tried to test him. 63 You are small and weak, therefore you must not provoke the wrath of your fellow men. Do not try to draw attention to yourself, think that you have nothing special. Nor seek to prove to men that all are in error and that only you know the truth, for in this way you will not do good with your seed. 64 If you desire to develop yourself spiritually and morally, do not judge the faults of your fellow men so as not to fall into the same error. Correct your imperfections, pray humbly to your Master that you may be inspired by his gentleness, and remember his counsel never to make known your good works, so that your left hand never knows what your right hand has done. 65 Also I tell you that it is not necessary to seek men to speak to them about my teaching, for my mercy will bring to you those in need of your help. 66 But if there are moments when, in accordance with my law, you should feel the need to do a work of charity, and you have no needy person near you, do not be troubled therefore, and do not doubt my word. This will be the very hour when you shall pray for your absent brethren, who will receive my mercy if you have true faith. 67 Strive not to know more than your brethren. Understand that all of you will gain knowledge according to your development. If I were to grant you my light without merit, you would think yourselves great, and would perish in your vanity, and your wisdom would be false. 68 I will see you humble. But to be so before me, you must also manifest it to your neighbor. 69 Disciples, love and wisdom are never separate, the one is part of the other. How is it that some seek to separate these two virtues? Both are the key that opens the gate of the sanctuary, that will enable you to come to the full knowledge of my teaching. 70 I have told you, do you want to have many friends? Then make use of kindness, cordiality, forbearance and mercy. For only with the help of these virtues will your spirit be able to shine in the path of your neighbor, since they are all direct expressions of love. For the Spirit contains love in its innermost being, since it is divine spark, and God is love. 30:29-36. 71 I speak now to those who are to carry out their mission as apostles and prophets in other countries, so that they may not boast about the mission I have entrusted to them. These are not to make a fuss by fighting religious communities or creeds. 72 Others will be the ones to arouse indignation against you, not realizing that they will help you to spread my teaching by awakening the curiosity of many, which will subsequently be transformed into faith. 135:28. 73 If I anchor my divine message in you, it must become a fraternal message. But for it to impress and move the materialistic heart of this humanity, it must have the stamp of truth that I have revealed to you. If you hide anything, if you conceal anything, you have not given a true testimony of what my revelation was in the third age, so you will not find faith. 172:62. 74 How great is the moral and spiritual backwardness in which I meet mankind! How great is the responsibility of those who have received the grace and light of my word in this time! 75 Disciples, become masters, banish from your hearts the fear of men, banish indifference and laziness, realize that you are truly bearers of a heavenly message. It is you who are to give the explanation for all that is happening in these times, who must strive to point out the principles of my teaching, which humanity has forgotten. 76 You are not to repeat my word to your fellow men as I told you. Train yourselves so that you may know how to explain it. Do not seek for words to impress with your eloquence. Speak in a simple manner that best expresses the truth of the Spirit. 189:11-13. 77 Be untiring, new disciples, when you speak of this truth. Untrained lips, you who do not utter my word out of fear, open yourselves in the moment of your decision. A single word, spoken in my name, can save a sinner, close abysses, stop those who have become unruly in evil on their way. Do you know the power that my word has? Do you know the power of your authority? 78 Speak by exemplary deeds and do justice to that part of my work which I have entrusted to you. The rest I will do. 269:6. 79 When you see that others of your fellow men teach the name and word of Christ, do not look down on them, for it is written that my return would happen when the word that I brought you in the second time would have spread over the whole earth. 80 But I tell you that there are still places in the world that have not yet received that message. How could today's profoundly spiritual teaching reach those peoples without first having received the divine seed of love which the Savior gave you in His word and blood? 288:44. 81 Once you understand and feel the truth, you will experience how easy it is for the Spirit to follow the steps of His Master, even in the hardest trials. Do all that is possible for you, for I will not ask more of you than you can do. Then you will leave the way paved for the new generations. 82 I put the children on your heart and charge you to lead them on the right way. Gather them together, speak to them with love and devotion from me. 83 Seek out the rejected, those who live lost under misery and vice. I give spiritual power to your words so that these are the way to salvation when they come over your lips. 84 Open the book of true life before the ignorant, so that their spirit may awaken and become great as they enter into the revelations of the Holy Spirit. Become like your Master, and you will be heard. 64, 70. 85. I want that those who have found the way teach it easily understandable and make it easy for their fellow men, that they do not pave it with stumbling blocks as many have done, with which they prevented that those who seek me can come to me. 299, 34. 86. I entrust to you spiritualists the task of breaking down that barrier which mankind has piled up between God and it, a barrier of false faith, only apparent faith in the eternal, of materializations and unnecessary ritual acts. 87. To you, people, I give the commission to push the golden calf from its pedestal, which men still worship, even if they consider themselves far from idolatry and paganism. 285, 54-55. 88. Eliminates people's false impression of spiritual teachings as if they were based on ignorance, deception, and deception. Show my teaching in all its sincerity and grandeur so that it may dissolve the ignorance, fanaticism, and hardening that prevent people from thinking of their spiritual ego, which they have robbed of all freedom of action. 287, 42. 89. You who have received these revelations are destined to proclaim to mankind my new rallies through the human mind. Who shall bear witness to this, but you? 90. If you expect the dignitaries or clergy of the religious communities to bring this good news to mankind, you are in error. For truly, I tell you, even if they would see me, they would not open their lips to say to mankind, Behold, there is Christ, go to him. 92, 13. 91. Do not sleep in expectation of those times of which I have spoken to you, only then to rise up and say to men, that which you now have before your eyes has already been foretold. 92. No, people, it is absolutely necessary that you announce it in advance, that you prophesy it, that you pave the way for the coming of all that I have prophesied and promised to you. Then you will have fulfilled your mission as pioneer of spiritualization on earth. 93. When then miraculous things begin to appear in the world and the Spirit of the Lord speaks to you through events never seen before, and when the spirit of man begins to reveal gifts and abilities never suspected, you will experience how all creeds, theories, norms, institutions and sciences will be shaken. And then mankind will confess that those who humbly preached an apparently alien teaching were right because their words were confirmed when they came true. 94. You will then see that the peoples of the earth are interested in spiritual teaching, that theologians compare the teachings of Christ with the new revelations, and you will see many who have always been indifferent to the spiritual take a lively interest in the study of the revelations of this and past ages. 216, 16-17. Mission to comfort and heal physically and spiritually suffering people. 95. I have entrusted great gifts to my chosen ones. One of them is that of healing, the healing balm, so that with this gift I can fulfill one of the most beautiful tasks among men, since your planet is a valley of tears where there is always pain. 96. With this ability you have a wide field before you to give comfort according to my will. I have placed this balm in your being, in the most delicate strings of your heart, and you have refreshed yourselves on it. Before its marvels your neck has bowed, your heart has become soft through the pain of men, and you have always walked on the path of mercy. 97. Furthermore, donate this healing balm, which is not in your hands, because it is transmitted through glances of compassion, of consolation, of understanding, is transmitted through good thoughts, and is transformed into healing advice, into words of light. 98. The gift of healing has no limits. Never forget that you are imbued with it, and if pain should make you pray to it, because you are being subjected to a trial, if you cannot remove it with this balm, do not forget my teachings, forget your suffering, and think of others in whom the torment is greater. Then you will experience miracles with yourselves and with your fellow men. 3:1-18, 19. 99. How much you must be prepared to look into the hearts and experience what they contain, what they hide and what they need. 100. I have taught you to nourish spirit beings, to heal them, to give them light and show the way to their upward development. 101. Whoever hears this word and keeps it in his heart will be able to become a guide of the Spirit, a physician and counselor. In his word he will have a gift of peace and comfort to his fellow men in need of light. 294, 3-4. 102. I give you a drop of healing balm so that, when you are persecuted, you may perform miraculous healings among men. For during the great epidemics, when the alien and scientifically unknown diseases break out, the authority of my disciples shall be revealed. 103. I entrust to you a key with which you will open the rusty lock, that is, the most unruly heart, and even prison gates, to give freedom to the innocent and save the guilty. 104. You will always live in peace and trust in me, because everywhere you go, you will be protected by my angels. They will make your mission theirs and accompany you to the homes, hospitals, prisons, fields of discord and war, wherever you may go to sow my seed. 260,37, 38. 105. Men will come, and among them Thomas, represented by science and materialism, with watchful eyes to investigate, and this not only with his eyes, but also with the fingers of his hand, to feel, to touch, because only in this way he can believe in my presence and in spiritual events, those who will enter one after another among mankind, and of whom men must bear witness, so that the Thomas of the third age in his doubt and materialism may be overcome by my love. 319, 38. 106. I will give you the instruction when you are to get to work, because it will be a time of such great and clear signs that you will hear the call of the spiritual world and the call of this world, which will indicate with its events that the hour of your fight has come. I will speak to you from spirit to spirit and lead you on the way. 107. But I want you, before you come to men as teachers, to come as doctors, and then, when you have quenched their pain, they can drink from the spring of the pure waters of my word. First seek out the wound, ulcer or disease and heal their sufferings, and then turn to their spirit. 108. Go to your fellow men as Jesus did in the second time and bring the healing balm before my word. But what does the balm consist of, O disciples? Is it the water of the springs that is blessed and transformed into medicine for the sick? No, people. That balm of which I speak to you is in your heart. There I have put it in as a precious essence, and only love can open it up so that it flows out unstoppably. 109. If you want to pour it on any sick person, it will not be your hands that heal, but the Spirit that overflows with love, mercy and consolation. Wherever you direct your thoughts, the miracle will happen. 110 You can act on the beings and elements of nature in many ways to bring comfort to all. But I also tell you this, fear not the diseases and be patient and merciful with all. 111 As for the possessed and those confused in their human mind, you can also heal, because you have this ability and you are to put it at the service of those beings who are in despair and oblivion. Liberate them and reveal this authority before the faithless. It is one of the great missions of this people to bring the light to where there is darkness, to break every bondage and injustice and to bring this world to know its Lord and to see itself, its inner being, in full knowledge of the truth. 339, 39-41. The time of departure for the worldwide mission. 112 Since the world is at present so blind that it cannot see the light of truth, nor hear my call in its innermost being, you shall pray and gain spiritual ground. For at present you would not be heard because all nations are busy preparing, destroying and defending themselves. 113 Men will have to become even more blind when despair, hatred, terror and pain reach their limits. 114 Again, this would not be the right hour to deliver my message, for you would be like callers in the middle of a desert, no one would pay attention to you. 323, 27-29. 115 Only after the earth has been ravaged from pole to pole, and all nations, all social institutions, and all homes have been judged to their roots, and after mankind has washed away every stain of shame, shall you go out armed in my name to bring my teaching to your brethren. 42, 54. 116 When the time has come, you, beloved people, shall arise and make my holy word palpable to your fellow men. You will scatter over the world as good disciples, and this new gospel that I leave to you will spread. This light, which emanates from the sixth seal, will illuminate the humanity of this time, and with it the mysteries will be revealed. 117 My teaching will take root in other nations, and everything that men have not discovered, they will know through the light that the 7 seals give. But you shall speak of these teachings you have received and instruct men in the fulfillment of my commandments. 49,43.